Let me start this video by asking you, when was the last time you got a really sincere and genuine compliment that made you feel absolutely fantastic? On this video, I'd like to share with you habit number 10, which is the importance of actually complimenting people for two things really. One is that when you compliment someone, it feels fantastic. The second thing is that the person you compliment also feels fantastic. And I want to share with you some really interesting research I remember reading about many years ago, and have since researched it quite a bit to really get to grips with it, understand it, around the importance of this aspect of complimenting people and how important that is as a leader to be able to do that. I'm amazed that I'm hearing in the news around the amount of people who have been furloughed and in lockdown, and their leaders, their managers, haven't even bothered to contact them. What is that about? And we need to realize a lot about the importance of it. A lot of research I've read will show things like that a sincere compliment will trigger the same part of the brain as giving someone cash. So imagine if I had a big suitcase of cash now and I gave it to you, that would trigger a certain part of the brain and make you feel really good. There's this whole drug, isn't it, called dopamine, and dopamine is a reward drug. It's a thing that gets us addicted to things like likes and shares and the social media roundabout that we all get trapped upon, because we like that instant sort of gratification. And it's one of the things that gets us hooked on lots of different things. So dopamine is a really important thing. And when you think about leadership, leadership is around making sure people are fine, because dopamine actually helps the brain more effectively and helps all the connections. And certainly from a learning point of view, I know when we are developing our training programs, you want to create the right environment and actually get people to slow down and to get into the right state for learning. And one of the things that we do always is to make sure people understand what the benefits are that they're going to get from the training program. Because when you trigger off that reward circuitry and you flood the brain full of dopamine, it makes the brain cells really sticky and more likely to learn stuff. And I can relate to that as well. I can remember certainly from school, surviving school, and I'm pretty good at remembering things. So I survived okay doing my O-levels, revising, remembering things and repeating it to answer the questions and getting through all the exams in that way. It wasn't until I joined the military when I suddenly realized that learning had a purpose. So if I didn't learn how to use this piece of equipment, then I possibly could die. And suddenly, that reward of not dying is something that's really powerful. And it's amazing how quick you can learn things when that trigger is gone. And since then, I realized that what's happening, of course, is that when you trigger that dopamine in the brain, it makes it really sticky. One of the pieces of research I read a while ago that really triggered my fascination with it, and it was a documentary I first saw by Dr. Emoto from Japan. And he researched around the whole thing around water, and he's written some amazing books around the hidden messages in water. If you've not read that or not seen videos about that on YouTube, I certainly recommend you go and have a look at it. And he did lots of different experiments. And so what he was fascinated with was water and how we're connected to water. It's true to say, isn't it, that we're 75 to 85% of water. Most of the planet is water. So there's something about water, and certainly from a personal point of view, I know I feel at home when I'm around water. I've spent a lot of my hobbies are related to water, so sailing, windsurfing, canoeing, kayaking. One of the things I reflected on over the weekend is how it can feel really lonely when you're locked and trapped in a concrete box, as opposed to never feeling lonely when you're based in nature. And I think that's quite fascinating when you have a look at it. There's a Japanese phrase called hado, which is around, it means vibration. And I think that's quite interesting about what's the vibration that's actually happening. So what was really fascinating about Dr. Emoto's research is that he looked at experiments like he would take glasses of water, and what he would do, take one glass of water and he would give this glass of water really positive thoughts, would even actually play positive music like classical music and Mozart, show this water pictures, beautiful pictures. I guess you could say beauty is obviously subjective, so let's say it's positive from that viewpoint. And then the second batch of glasses, he would actually give it negativity and loud heavy metal rock music and all sorts of stuff. I guess some people would call heavy metal music beautiful, so that's very subjective as well, isn't it? But what he did was he actually gave this water different experiences than the water over here. And these glasses are all about positivity and love and great stuff, and this was all about negativity and bad stuff. And what was really interesting is when he froze the water and started to have a look through the microscope, the crystals that were formed, is that the ones that were given the positivity formed really fully formed, beautiful crystals. The ones that were given the negativity actually formed negative crystals. And I remember watching that documentary and having a quite an emotional reaction to it, like I call it a hay fever moment, with like a tear in your eye, where you're thinking, wow. And I remember thinking, I need to go watch that again. That was just so powerful. And obviously, being a skeptic as well it's it's important to challenge this sort of thing, isn't it? But I think for me, it makes sense. Whether it's been scientifically proven or not, it makes sense. If you're vibrating positivity and love, as opposed to hatred and resentful, there is going to be a difference, and that difference, I think, is really important. So they talk, don't they, about the shadow you cast across an organization, and I think that's what they're talking about, the same thing. And what we're doing, of course, is that we're transmitting at a different frequency. There's actually making a difference inside people. So just think about the damage that we can cause as leaders when we're giving negativity and we're shouting at people. We're always finding things that go wrong. And I've seen that many times when we work with teams, and we've brought in appreciative inquiry as a tool for them to use. The difference that makes, where the teams come together, they focus on the positivity, they start to grow and build and be more successful. I think that's changing, possibly maybe changing what's inside their body. Who knows? What are the things that are forming inside us? If it's making that difference to water, and we're 75 to 80% of water, then surely that's got to make a difference to me. I don't understand it fully scientifically, but I think it's really fascinating. So habit number 10 is all about the importance of complimenting people. So when we compliment people, and I mean a sincere compliment. So if your loved one, for example, has spent a lot of effort getting ready, a compliment by saying things like, "Oh, you look nice." It's not a great compliment, rather than, "Wow, you look amazing. You look beautiful. Thank you for spending that time. You look absolutely stunning." It's far more powerful than, "Oh, you look nice." And I'm sure you can understand why. So it's important that we actually, when we compliment people, we do it in a sincere and a positive way. So one of the things I always talk when I'm teaching leaders is to actively look for people doing really good stuff, and then just catch that moment. So it's not about the size of the compliment, it's more about the amount of compliments. And when you catch people doing something well, is to actually let them know, and actually be detailed about it. Let them know, compliment them, the big thank you, and the reason why. And I think that's really important. And when you can do that, it makes them feel good, but also makes you feel good, because you're actually having this change in mindset of what's going on between the two of you. And I think that's a great way to build relationships. Now, not me going around being cheesy and complimenting people just for the sake of it, even when they've done bad things. And what I'm saying is, catch people doing something really well and just say the thank you. So how many thank yous have you had over the past month? How many times has someone said to you, "Well done, that's exactly what I want. I love the way you've done that. That's brilliant." And it's really important to think about these. And the other thing, of course, around compliments is the ability to receive compliments as well. So one of the tips that I always say, and you've probably heard it many times on training programs, around when you get feedback, the only thing you can say is thank you, and then remain quiet and shut the mouth, and don't justify it or deflect it. It's just to take it on board. Whether that's positive or negative, it's exactly the same thing. So receiving compliments is really important as well. I see it sometimes when I'm actually coaching someone from a presentations point of view, and you'll see them on the big stage, and the crowd are loving what that person's doing, and there's a big applause at the end, and that person just can't get off the stage quick enough, rather than graciously accepting that reward for a great job. And I think it's something that we need to work on, both receiving compliments but also giving compliments. So habit number 10 is all about that. So I hope you found that useful. Go out and research Dr. Emoto. Have a look at what he does. It'd be good to get your thoughts, whether you believe that's right or not. For me, I believe it. I think that's enough evidence for me. It makes sense for me. I can't explain it scientifically, but I think that for me is enough. And I know that from experience that when you do compliment people in a genuine way, it makes a huge difference to the output and the positivity and the results that you get. So habit number 10 was all about the importance of complimenting people. So hopefully I persuaded you of the importance of that. Go out there and compliment people, but also receive compliments in a really positive way as well. So tomorrow we're going to have a look at this concept of removing worry. Worry can be a good thing. We have to catch it early, but we then have to make sure it doesn't overwhelm us and take over our way of operating. So tomorrow I'm going to share you the story of and the importance of a worry box. So until then, bye for now.